Welcome to Wild World News.
What is happening, Magnusites? You know something? I heard about this the other day with the bill or law or whatever it is that Biden signed, and I was very curious as to how things were going to develop. Now, it says here on Fox News, female athletes worry Biden's order on transgender athletes will end girls' sports. Now we're going to watch this and I'm going to tell you what I think. I already got something to say, but I'm going to see what they're going to say here.
President Biden's first executive orders was to allow transgender athletes to participate in girls' sports. Quoting his order, children should be able to learn without worrying about whether they will be denied access to the restroom, the locker room, or school sports. So let's talk about the real-world impact of this action with a track athlete from Danbury, Connecticut, Alana Smith, and Alliance Defending Freedom Legal Counsel, Christiana Holcomb. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you for having us.
I'm going to start by playing something that your mom, Alana, said about you going into competition under these circumstances. Here's what she said.
Alana and I were talking about what her strategy was going to be for the day, and she looked at me and said, "Mom, it really doesn't matter because I'm running against the boys today. I won't win."
That's defeat.
So, Alana, what kind of position does this put you in as a biologically born female athlete?
That is defeat.
It's really disappointing because I know that me and all the other biological females work really hard at track practice, and we work hours a day just to shave off tenths of a second for our times, and it's just really disappointing to know who's going to win the race before it even starts.
Going on, the ACLU says this. Their deputy director for transgender justice states that attempt to bar trans girls from sports, regardless of age or of transition, medical intervention, or anything else, with the new federal administration will now be risking lawsuits by the federal government, Justice Department intervention, and the loss of federal funding. So where does the legal fight go here, Christiana?
Well, this order is an irresponsible abuse of power. It is unlawful and it effectively eviscerates women's sports for young women like Alana. Look, we already know what the impact of these policies are. We've seen it play out in Connecticut, where 2 biological males have swiped 15 women's state championship titles over the course of just a few seasons.
That's crazy.
So this will have a devastating impact on women's sports if it's allowed to proceed.
I want to read something from one of the transgender athletes who has been at the center of a lot of these conversations and cases, saying, "Running has been so important for my identity, my growth as a person, and my ability to survive in a world that discriminates against me." It's Andrea Yearwood. "I'm thankful that I live in Connecticut, where I can be treated as a girl in all aspects of life and not face discrimination at school." So, Alana, what is your message to these athletes who say this is an important part of their life and their identity?
I just want them to realize how unfair the situation was. Like, for example, at regionals,
Very unfair.
as a freshman year, I should have gotten a silver medal. Instead, I received a bronze. And it's not really about the medal or the placement, but it's about knowing that all my hard work paid off. Because, like I said, we spend hours a week training just to shave off the tiniest amount of seconds for our times. And it's just really disappointing to know that our hard work isn't really paying off how it should be.
And I know there are scholarships that are in play a lot of times. It's competitive. You're talking about a college education or the ability to get help with that. I want to play something from Kara Dansky from the Women's Human Rights Campaign. She is pretty far left, a feminist who would describe herself as very far left. This is what she said earlier tonight when talking with Tucker Carlson.
What this will have the impact of doing is obliterating women and girls' sex-based rights at federal level. This is rank misogyny, and it is coming from the left. 2, there is a tremendous amount of money.
So, Christiana, this has been one of those things that we talk about. It's so interesting to see groups coming together from far left, far right, across the spectrum, coming together to stand up and say, as women's rights advocates, though they may disagree on all kinds of other things like abortion and, workplace issues, they agree here that they think that this is fundamentally unfair to women. But this is an administration. We have our first female vice president. President Biden has talked quite a bit about women's rights and wanting to respect them.
And yet, as we saw with this executive order, the Biden administration has sent a very clear message to young women like Alana. You don't matter. Your athletic opportunities, your scholarship opportunities do not matter. And if a biological male identifies as female, he's welcome to sideline you in your own sport. So this is not something the American people want. As you mentioned, people on the right and the left agree. It's simply not fair to displace young women in their own sports.
Alana, what do you want to say to folks out there who are listening to this debate, this conversation following these court cases, about what this means for you and your future?
It means everything to me, considering that I want to run in college and I even want to go pro, and to know that some girls won't be able to make it to states or regionals because only the top 6 or 8 can go. And the transgender athletes are taking up spots. It's really disappointing because, I mean, I was lucky enough to go to regionals and states, but I know that there's other biological females that weren't able to. So I just hope that they realize that our sport should be fair.
Alana and Christiana, we will follow these legal debates and these cases and your particular case as well. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Hey, listen. So let me tell you how I feel about this whole thing. I believe in human rights, okay? Everyone having their human rights, okay? Now, if you're trans, that's fine. I believe you should be able to compete. However, because biological women have a disadvantage to trans women that were born biological men, you should either you need to have your own category, okay? You need to compete separately. I don't know how they're going to work that out. I remember when I ran track, I remember that they would have different heats, which were basically different sets of races. So in the first heat, it might be me and 4 other guys, right? Boom, we go. All right, whoever wins, wins, whatever. Then they might have a second heat of a different group of guys. Sometimes they would have a heat sometimes with somebody running by themselves, okay? For whatever reason. And, if they ran the fastest time, hey, they win. You know what I mean? Like, it had to do with the time, you know what I mean? So, because it's unfair, it has to be changed like 2 or 3-fold. First of all, don't have them compete against the women that were born biologically female, okay? Second, they should be competing for separate prizes or medals, okay? Third, they have to be competing for separate scholarships, because we've all seen it. We've all seen it in the news over the years. There are men that trans. I can't even think of the word right now. I want to say translate. I got so much stuff in my head right now. I know what it is and I can't even say it. Brain fart. Anyway, so you have male to female trans start competing and they start smashing all types of records. Doing stuff women can never do. We've all seen it, okay? We've all seen it. Speed records, strength records, we've seen it. It's not right to snatch these opportunities from the women that were born women, okay? They have to have a way for them to compete with them and make this fair. It needs to be some type of offshoot. You know what I mean? You got to have the male races, the female races, the male to female races, and the female to male races. You got what I'm saying? You got to have it like that. Just split them up. It might take a little bit more time to do the meet, the track meet, but you got to split it up to make it fair. It doesn't make sense to do that and to snatch these different opportunities from the females that were born female. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You got girls losing out on scholarships and all this, and they're defeated. They are absolutely defeated. It doesn't make any sense to me. And there's something else I wanted to point out, but for some reason I can't think of it right now because my mind is all over the place. But this is going, I really think it's going to destroy women's sports if they do that to them. It is. It is. And we know it's not going to be the other way around, you know, female to male. Only some of them are going to be able to come up to the level because a lot of them have been living their lives as women for a while. But I don't know how it's going to be for ones that maybe transition when they're really young. Like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? To even go from, when you look at female bodybuilders, they still can't hang with the male bodybuilders. You see what I'm saying? They, you know, even on all that testosterone and other performance enhancing drugs, they still can't pack on the muscle that the male bodybuilders can. It's a whole different thing. It's not right to do that. You know what I mean? It's not right to do that. I don't know how anyone would think that was fair. You know what I mean? I still understand how they can think that that's fair. It's fine that they compete, but just compete separately. You know what I mean? You can be at the women's meet, but just run that race with other male to female trans. That's it. That's it. Have your medals for them because it's a specific category. It's like anything else. And no, I'm not comparing you to them, but it's like the Special Olympics. The guy in the wheelchair cannot run the race with Usain Bolt. Would that be fair? Would that be fair? No. Okay? You gotta have these categories so you can make it fair for everybody. You know what I mean? Some of the shoots, fast as I've seen some of these people run, I mean, we go in these wheelchairs, they might actually be faster than Usain. I don't know. I've never looked at the times that people, you know, go in a wheelchair. But, I mean, wheels move. I'm serious. I'm gonna look up a race when I'm done. It's not fair. It's not right. That's the way I feel about it. Just get it, you know, put people in categories and just get it moving. And I think everybody will be happy. I mean, who's going to be happy knowing that they went male to female, knowing they have all this extra strength and quicker reflexes and hand-eye coordination that men are born with, probably because we're genetically the hunters and protectors of the family, you know, through nature, you know what I mean? Like, how could you think that that's even fair? I'd be like, look, I personally would be like, look, I know I'm female trans. Let me compete, please, but I don't want to run against them. Just let me run my own race. Or hey, such and such is trans too. Let us just run our races together. Because I know it's not fair. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you could think it was fair or think it's okay. I don't get that. You know what I'm saying? I am not against letting them compete. I am not against them winning medals. I am not against them winning scholarships. Just categorize it. Just categorize it. That's all. Male to female trans scholarship. Male to female trans medals. The female to male trans medals. The male to female to male trans scholarships. That's all. I think they make it easy. And the female to male can compete at all the male meets, and the male to female can compete at all the female meets, but they just run the races separately, and they're not counted against the females that were born female. And then conversely, they're not the male to the female to male trans are not counted with the male because there's a disadvantage there too. You know what I mean? I think that makes sense. And I'm not talking hate. I'm not talking discrimination and nothing. I think that's fair. We're talking about fairness, right? We want things to be even, right? We want an even playing field. Everyone wants to be equal. You want an equal playing field, okay? If you're born male, compete against men that were born male. If you're born female, transition to male, compete against only them. Born male, transition to female, compete against only them, and women only that were born women compete against them. All right, 10 million subscribers. Woo.